Breaking news that we've been following for the last 5 hours. Lance Mellon is joining us now to explain what's going on with no commercial traffic being allowed into Canada this morning. Lance, what's the latest?
Hey, thanks, Melissa. So I know we had a little hope just within the past few minutes. We saw some trucks moving across the Peace Bridge at the Lewiston and Queenston as well. But I just got off the phone with authorities. Now, the border for the commercial vehicles has not reopened. I want to reiterate that is not reopened. They're trying to alleviate some of that line. So they're putting some of the vehicles in what they call the staging area of the plaza. That's where it's like a temporary hold to manage, process, and basically just try to thin out that line a little bit, especially at the Peace Bridge, because it's really affecting things in Buffalo, Melissa.
Yeah, and Lance, we see that middle lane of the Peace Bridge right there. That is for the average citizen to cross the border. That is still open. But to get to that middle lane of the Peace Bridge there, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, it seems almost impossible. I mean, I'll just show you real quick a camera along the 190 North near Niagara Street where it's just jam-packed with tractor trailers. So if there are any folks trying to get to the Peace Bridge that aren't in a commercial vehicle, I would heavily advise you to just avoid it if you can completely, because you're going to have to, swim through a bunch of those vehicles. You're going to be crammed in between. Who knows how long you'll be waiting, even though it is open for normal travelers or people going to work, possibly. Just use the Rainbow Bridge, or if you have a Nexus, the Whirlpool Bridge is a much better option.
Right, and the Rainbow Bridge is the good option because no commercial traffic is ever allowed to cross the Rainbow Bridge. So that means for anyone trying to get over, you're not going to be dealing with these backups. But let's talk about the Lewiston and Queenston Bridge, because there is also commercial traffic there that's backed up. What are the residual effects for everyone else trying to get over the Lewiston and Queenston also?
Yeah, that's right. So Lewiston and Queenston, pretty much the same deal. So we've had the same vehicles just sitting around for most of the morning. I have seen some movement at the plaza. Again, I think it's the same thing with the Peace Bridge. They're trying to get them into that temporary hold place just to get rid of some of these lines. Now, we actually did have the ramp to Whitmer Road, from Whitmer Road to the 190 North completely closed. So they're not allowing any regular drivers over the Lewiston and Queenston Bridge because there's not as much space. The Peace Bridge has a few extra lanes. It's a little easier to navigate, but the Lewiston and Queenston, I haven't seen any normal cars, SUVs, anything like that try to get over the bridge, as you can see here. I just want to show you another camera real quick. There was some movement, like I said, at the top right of your screen here, and they are moving a little bit, but again, this is not because the border's open, it's because they're just trying to alleviate some of the lines up in Lewiston.
These poor truck drivers. Lance, you were saying that you were seeing some of them on the 190 North, that the truck drivers are actually getting out and trying to stretch their feet because they've been in their trucks for hours at a standstill.
Yeah, like we've been saying, since maybe 3, 4 a.m., the same trucks have been sitting in the same spot. So I saw multiple drivers get out, take a couple laps, stretch the legs. I saw a couple of them talking, just trying to figure out what's going on. I feel so bad for them because they're just trying to work their normal job, and they have literally no control over this. This is just a Canadian issue. If you're, a U.S. driver of a commercial vehicle trying to get into the States, I'm sure you've been in contact with your business or company, and all you have to do is just sit and wait. But I'm sure it takes a lot of extra patience to do that. Yeah,
and again, Lance, the reasoning for all of this, you've been trying to get to the bottom of it, but this is obviously not a local issue. This is happening at border crossings between the U.S. and Canada and Detroit, Montreal, any border crossing that you can think of between the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, that's right. I was amazed when I found that out. I woke up to seeing all these delays at the Western New York crossing. I thought it was a local issue. But after making my few calls, the capital of Canada in Ottawa gave word, actually to the Peace Bridge employee. They actually put me on hold, talked to some folks in Ottawa to get word officially that they are closed across the whole country. So they just wanted to let drivers know, and for me to share that there's no point in rerouting because you're not going to have any better luck adding some extra time going elsewhere in New York or to any other states to try to cross into Canada. It just made no difference, and it's still, as we can see, making no difference.
Okay, and can we talk one more time about the residual effects of what's happening on the 190 North? How far back does that being backed up? We actually have seen people getting along on the left lane pretty well around Niagara Street, but can you show us again and tell us how far those backups are happening?
Yeah, so for the most part of the morning, folks were getting by okay. What we did have an issue with is some truck drivers that were trying to get into those Peace Bridge lanes, and in doing so, they had no space and they were blocking some of those open lanes on the 190 North. So I believe for now, I'm past the camera on the screen, but the left and center lanes of the 190 North from Niagara Street to the Peace Bridge are open, but we still have those morning delays really before Church Street, so that's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the Peace Bridge, so we're seeing long effects of that. Also affecting the 190 South getting off at Niagara Street. Folks just trying to change their commute and get off at Niagara just to avoid all that commotion on the 190.
Yeah.
So
and that camera
add some
that you're
extra time no matter what.
Yeah, that camera that you're showing us right now when we're looking at the Peace Bridge, you do see the trucks crawling a little bit, which is progress, but again, as you said, it's not because it's open, it's just because they're being moved to a staging area.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. There was several reports that the border was open, and I just, I had to reiterate, it is not. It looks encouraging, but there is no update. I got word from 3 different officials at the Peace Bridge, and all 3 of them said no update on the system malfunction. Still, until further notice, that is down.
And what about other highways and roads across Western New York? I was hearing about a multi-car accident on the 190 southbound by the Peace Bridge. What's happening there?
Yeah, that's right. So unrelated to the border, ironically, right near the Peace Bridge, there is an accident still on scene. And if I could just show that real quick, try to get to that camera for you. We still have fire crews on that left lane right near the Peace Bridge, just reduced to that right lane. Looks like they're trying to clean up some debris, but there is an ambulance on scene. So a pretty serious accident right in that spot. And that is still backing us up about 3 miles to Ontario Street, which isn't a bad place for drivers to exit and just use the secondary roads and side roads in and around the Buffalo area for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned about an hour ago Union Road out in West Seneca by East and West being closed because of an accident there, which we don't have a camera there, but any idea if that's back open?
Yeah, no, there was a pretty serious injury accident. It involved a motorcycle, and it's Union Road in West Seneca at East and West Road. It was closed in both directions. I think I got off the phone with the West Seneca police about 15 minutes ago, and they reported it was still closed, and they were expecting it to still be closed for some time. It was a pretty nasty scene in that area, so folks were being diverted. There were some, traffic crews on scene, just waving them, to other directions, or just telling them, frankly, just to turn around.
Sure. All right. Well, Lance, thank you so much for those updates this morning. Again, yeah, Patrick, I know you're looking at this and you're saying, wait, they're moving, but again, they're only moving because, as we know, they're going to a staging area.
Guess what? We just saw a truck go the other way. Maybe they're turning them around.
That could, well, they've been allowed to go from Canada into the U.S. all morning long.
Oh, have they been able to, if they're stuck in line, can they turn around and go back?
Lance, are you hearing any of this?
I'm just curious.
Patrick wants to know maybe they're
been there since 4 a.m. I mean,
right. They've got to go
5 hours.
Right. They either are going to a staging area, or perhaps maybe they are being allowed to turn around right now and go back into the U.S. to go over some other border crossing, but they can't get over anywhere.
I know, but can you turn around and say, okay, I'll just try another time?
I don't know.
It's been 5 hours.
It's been 5 hours. It's been 5 hours for Lance too.
I'm thinking of those revers.
Lance, thank you for updating us. And if anything happens in the next 20 minutes, or you can answer any of Patrick's questions, we'll check back in with you as we continue to cover all of this as we stream here on Daybreak on WGRZ.